Every gardener with a fruit tree has had this moment. The tree looks perfect. Healthy leaves, strong branches, plenty of sunshine, and absolutely no fruit. You add fertilizer, nothing. You prune it back, nothing. You water it more, nothing. Here is what nobody tells you. A fruit tree covered in leaves and producing no fruit is not a sick tree. It is a tree that has been told by every signal you sent it to keep growing. And there is a single technique used in Japanese orchards for over 300 years. It sends the exact opposite signal. No products, no chemicals, no tools beyond a piece of soft garden twine. Today we cover what it is, why it works, and exactly how to do it. This includes dwarf fruit trees in containers. In 18th century Japan, orchard farmers noticed something incredible. It contradicted everything they believed about tree management. Trees that had been damaged by wind were producing significantly more fruit. Branches pulled toward the ground performed better than upright, undamaged trees beside them. They did not know why, so they began doing it deliberately, bending branches, tying them down toward the ground, holding them at an angle. 300 years later, plant physiologists studying auxin discovered the exact biological mechanism. Auxin is the primary growth hormone in all plants. And it turns out the farmers were not just right. They were doing something that modern science calls highly effective. It is one of the best non-chemical interventions in fruit production. If this is your first time here, subscribe now and hit the bell. Every week we go this deep on the methods that actually change how your garden produces. The tree's choice. To understand why branch bending works, you need to understand one thing. This is how fruit trees make decisions. Every fruit tree is making a choice constantly between two modes of growth. Mode 1 is vegetative growth. This is the mode where the tree builds itself. It makes more branches, more leaves, and a wider root system. The tree is investing entirely in its own structure. In this mode, it produces almost no fruit. Mode 2 is reproductive growth. This is the mode where the tree produces delicate flowers, then fruit. It is investing in the next generation in seeds rather than in its own body. The tree switches between these modes based on hormonal signals, specifically a hormone called auxin. Auxin is produced at the growing tips of branches and flows downward through the wood. When a branch is vertical, auxin flows quickly and efficiently downward. This high auxin flow signals the tree to keep growing. Build more structure. Stay in vegetative mode. When you feed a vertical tree with nitrogen-rich fertilizer, you amplify that signal even further. More nitrogen equals more vegetative growth. This equals more leaves and less fruit. This is why well-fed fruit trees in full sun sometimes produce no fruit at all. The tree is not struggling. The tree is thriving in exactly the wrong mode for your purposes. The science of branch bending. Here is what happens when you bend a branch. When a branch is pulled from vertical to horizontal, auxin flow slows dramatically. It also slows if pulled below horizontal. The growing tip is no longer pointing straight upward. The hormone can no longer flow efficiently. The tree reads this as a sudden signal. This branch cannot grow further in this direction. And here is the extraordinary part. When auxin flow slows below a critical threshold, the tree switches modes. It shifts from vegetative to reproductive, specifically in that branch. Those buds which would have become more shoots and leaves begin to change. They begin to differentiate into flower buds instead. One season of branch bending leads to flowers where there were only leaves before. Modern horticulture has quantified this. Trials on apple trees compared upright branches to bent branches. Branches bent to 45 degrees or below found 3 to 5 times more fruit set. This happened in the very first season after bending. The Japanese farmers saw this in their orchards 300 years ago. Modern plant physiologists confirmed the hormonal mechanism in the 1970s. The farmers knew the history. The Japanese were not alone in discovering this. In medieval Europe, monastery orchards used a technique called espalier. Fruit trees were trained completely flat against stone walls. Branches were spread horizontally and tied tightly in place. The monks who designed these systems did not understand auxin, but they observed something fascinating over generations. Trees trained flat against walls produced dramatically more fruit than freestanding upright trees. Espalier orchards from the 12th century are still producing fruit today. The exact same trees trained the same way for over 800 years. Modern plant science has now explained completely what the monks and Japanese achieved. Horizontal branches produce fruit. Vertical branches produce wood. This is not a trick. This is tree biology. How to do it. Here is exactly how to apply branch bending to any fruit tree. This includes small dwarf trees in containers. What you need is soft garden twine. Use the kind that will not cut into delicate bark. You also need a small stake, a pot edge, or a nearby structure. That is everything you need to anchor to. Step 1 is timing. Branch bending is most effective in late spring to early summer. This is when the tree is actively growing and branches are still flexible. Do not bend old, rigid, woody branches because they will snap instantly. Target young branches from the current or previous growing season. They are flexible enough to bend without harsh resistance. Step 2 is to identify the right branches. Look for branches that are growing strongly upward. These vertical branches are in pure vegetative mode, producing only leaves. Leave branches alone that are already growing at an angle or have fruited. Step 3 is to bend slowly and gently. Take the branch firmly in both hands. Apply gentle, even pressure downward toward horizontal or slightly below. If you hear any cracking or feel resistance, stop immediately. You have gone far enough. The target angle is 45 degrees or below. Horizontal is ideal. Below horizontal is even more effective, but requires careful technique. Step 4 is to secure the branch. Tie soft twine loosely around the branch. Do not let it cut into the delicate bark. Anchor the other end to a stake or the rim of the pot. The branch should stay in position without tension. You are holding it, not forcing it. Step 5 is to check every 2 weeks. As the branch grows, the twine may need to be repositioned. After 8 to 12 weeks, the branch will have set permanently. You can safely remove the twine. The following spring, look for flower buds along that branch. How many branches to bend on a dwarf container tree? Aim for 3 to 5 branches per season. Do not bend every branch at once. The tree still needs some vegetative growth to stay healthy. 1/3 of branches bent per season is a good target. Over 3 years, the entire tree will have been trained. Which ones work best? Branch bending works on virtually every fruit tree. But these 4 are the best choices for container gardening, dwarf citrus like lemon, lime, or mandarin. This is the most forgiving container fruit tree. It responds strongly to branch bending. A single dwarf lemon in a 15-liter container will produce enough fruit for a household. Dwarf apple trees respond dramatically to branch bending. The research showing 3 to 5 times more fruit was conducted on apple trees. It requires cross-pollination, so keep 2 varieties if possible. Fig trees are naturally inclined toward horizontal growth and respond quickly. They also tolerate drought better than any other fruit tree. This is ideal for seniors who want low maintenance. Dwarf peach or nectarine produces fruit in the 1st or 2nd year. It is highly responsive to branch bending. This is one of the most rewarding container fruit trees for quick results. Most gardeners who try branch bending make one critical mistake. They expect fruit in the same season they bend. That is not how this works. Branch bending works with the tree's natural cycle, not against it. Understanding that cycle is the difference between abandoning the method and experiencing transformation. Here is the honest timeline. In the season you bend, your tree is responding internally. The hormonal shift is happening and buds are differentiating. But you will see nothing dramatic on the outside. What you will notice is the bent branch stops producing new shoots. That is the signal. The energy that was going into leaves is now being redirected. In the spring following your first bending season, you will see flowers along the bent branch. Not necessarily a full load, but flowers where there were none before. This is the tree confirming that the method is working. By the 2nd full season after bending, fruit set becomes reliable. A well-trained dwarf container tree typically produces 2 to 4 times more fruit. And here is what the Japanese orchardists understood that modern gardeners tend to forget. A fruit tree is a long-term relationship. You are not fixing it. You are teaching it. Every season of consistent training builds on the last. By year 3, a properly trained container fruit tree becomes almost self-sustaining. The bent branches set fruit, you harvest, and the cycle continues. This is not instant gratification, but it is something better. It is a system that works harder every year for free. After bending and securing your branches, here is what to look for. First sign within 4 to 6 weeks. Small swellings begin to appear along the bent branch at intervals. These are the buds beginning to differentiate. On an unbent branch, these buds would become shoots. On your bent branch, they are becoming flower buds. Second sign the following spring. Flowers appear along the bent branch before upright branches show any. This is the hormonal shift made visible. Third sign by summer. Fruit set on your previously unproductive branches. Not immediately in abundance, but the first year establishes the pattern. By year 2, a well-trained container fruit tree will produce reliably every season. Every year, gardeners buy more fertilizer, sprays, and products. They try to force fruit from a tree growing in the wrong direction. The tree does not need more inputs. It needs a different signal. The Japanese orchardists understood this 300 years ago. The medieval monks understood it 800 years ago. Modern plant science confirmed it 50 years ago. And now you have everything you need to do it this weekend. You only need a piece of twine that costs less than your morning coffee. Your fruit tree is not failing you. It is waiting for the right instruction. Nature is patient. So are we. Before you go, tell me in the comments down below. Do you have a fruit tree that has never produced fruit? What kind is it? I read every single one. Your garden is not failing you, it is teaching you. I will see you in the next file.